Yeah, I'm ready as I'll ever be to talk about this film. Oh no.
Tired of lying in the sunshine? Welcome to Pink Floyd, the podcast where we watch every movie ever made to see if it syncs up with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. My name is Gareth Blackler, and joining me is the corporate mascot for James Barron brand soap. It's James Barron.
Hi, Corporate Chill, James Barron. How's it going? Here on the mic, Gareth. How are you? Here?
I'm doing okay, considering what we've had to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so we watched 2012. Sorry, how are you?
I'm alright, yeah. Besides the movie, obviously, yeah. 2012. Yeah. I cannot believe this movie came out in 2012, first of all. What the fuck?
Do you know the story?
Yes, I had to do research afterwards, but
okay.
Let's announce what it is first.
Okay, yes. We just get the whole film without saying the title.
Oh, please.
The film was 2012 Food Fight! Exclamation point.
Yeah.
Goodness me. So it was supposed to come out in like 2001.
Yeah.
And it was delayed. And then in 2002, all of the servers were stolen containing all of the animation.
Fair enough.
So they had... yeah. And apparently they got the Secret Service involved and the Secret Service couldn't find anything. Nothing's emerged of those servers. So who's to say? And then... you'd think okay, that's a bit of a delay. And then the New York Times ran an article about it. It's on its way. And that was in 2004, saying a 2005 release. 7 more years pass and Food Fight, after its producers go bankrupt and its rights are sold, Food Fight sneaks into a DVD release. And 9 years after that, a young podcast host knows that we're approaching, a funny number. So it'd be cool to do something that's it's a bit, a bit of a laugh. Maybe it's something kind of outsider art. Maybe it's a gift to his friend who thoroughly enjoyed when we covered the Turkish Spider-Man movie 3 Devidam. Yep. Maybe this podcast host, Gareth Blackler, wanted to, gift us with some outsider art. And maybe he got a little too lost in that quest and he... went a bit deep on the worst films ever made Wikipedia page.
Wow.
And then a friend might have described this film. It might have described this film, and he might have just said this film for the show, thinking, after hearing the story of how it was made and the cast, thinking, oh yeah, that's going to be fun. It's called Food Fight.
Yeah.
And that boy may be regretting it, and that's the history of Food Fight.
Oh no! It's fine. To whoever that is, it's totally okay. I'm willing, I'm happy to talk about this film and fall on the sword. Yes, it is one of the worst movies ever made. Can confirm.
Yeah.
After watching it, yep, definitely feel that way about it. But I was running it through my head and thinking about all those other bad movies that I've watched and ranking it as stacked up to those. In comparison to The Room's like a masterpiece compared to this.
Yeah.
At least it has a semblance of a plot to follow.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's bad for the world in the same way Food Fight does.
Yeah. And Turkish Spider-Man, I thoroughly enjoyed. That's a bad film in a different way, in that it's just a product of its era and production, I guess. But this has basically no excuse. For a film to come out in 2001 looking like this, it would be kind of bad, but okay, I suppose. But for it to come out in 2012 is... basically inexcusable in my mind.
After 10 years to work on this animation as well.
Oh my god, it's the most... Yeah, we'll get to my description of this animation in a minute, but oh my god. It is shocking, to say the least, how little polish is on this movie. And and yet some polish in some... they've clearly put in a lot of effort in some areas... and zero in others. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's the wildest mix of of complete like over the top intensity and also like complete lack of forethought. It's amazing. It was a stunning experience for me, Gareth.
Okay.
I had a good time watching this horrible film. So
see, I didn't. I was having a lovely day yesterday and I decided to just put it on because I had a free hour, like get halfway or something. And I was suddenly in the worst mood and I couldn't figure it out. And then I was like, oh, it's because I've tried to watch Food Fight. And then so today I like, had a lovely day, did some like exercise, some chores. I went to my friend's house and we like walked around her garden and had a cup of tea. And then the whole time hanging over me was the fact I had to finish Food Fight.
Oh,
and, like,
no.
Yeah. I think what bums me out so badly is The Room I can understand. I know, like, it's part of the legend of how that happened.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it makes sense. And then, like, something like Cats, another film everyone hates. I understand it. I understand what's happened.
Yes.
Like, yeah, Three Devadam, you understand it. This, I just can't figure out
oh my God.
what led to it.
It's a minefield of bad decisions and like just people that should know better like being involved to the point where it's potentially this is a tax dodge movie. Like that's like my only kind of justification for this being made at this point, but
I think it did right. Or there was enough deals with the corporate mascots that literally litter the screens.
Yeah.
That like they could just, no matter what it was going to be a profit, they just had to legally release it.
I guess so. Oh.
Yeah.
Unreal.
The other thing that bums me out about this is something about like the fact I don't understand it fills me with a dread that this could happen to me. Like I've had projects get out of hand, like kind of get away from me, not quite be what I thought they were going to be.
Sure.
Sometimes when you're surrounded with enough people, you focus on the smaller goals and like, I don't know, I feel scared that I could end up making Food Fight and sitting in the cinema and being like, it's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong.
Oh, no. I mean, like, other than this podcast, I don't think you're in danger of that, Gareth.
This is my Food Fight.
Potentially, yes. Like, and that this has definitely gotten away from us. But hey, man, I'm still having fun. I don't care. Like, yeah. But yeah, no. Like, I think it's a difference of like, there's clearly like a huge budget behind this film, and it just met a series of challenges. And then I say met. It like was hit with a series of challenges and then failed to meet them and just spiraled in like the worst way. But like they were so pot committed, they had to release it. That's like that's where my head is at. Like someone was pushing for this to come out and refused to say no, even though all signs pointed to it being an absolute disaster.
Yeah. This does, like, remind me... So I've had a theory about some movies, especially the Air Buddies movies.
Yes.
That there's... Because there's so much money in the world, I have a theory that some movies are made entirely for one person.
Sure.
One person has been rich enough to be like, no, make me this movie. And usually I like to think it's made for their kids and their kids' incredibly specific desires.
Yeah.
So maybe in, like, 2001, some, like... super rich guy had a kid who loved going to the supermarket and pretending all the mascots were talking to each other. So it started, and then because the super rich guy was involved, it all, spiraled away.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
So you think it's, in this instance, you think it's Lawrence Kassanov's dream here that he's just pushing this whole time, or his child's dream potentially? He's the director.
I think so.
And also plays Cheezel T. Weasel in the movie.
Yeah.
One of the worst characters.
He's also like James Cameron's like really good friend and producing partner.
Oh my God.
Yeah, up until a certain point.
Yeah. I would be friends with him up until a certain point based on this performance. Fucking hell. My God.
So we're kind of dancing around my biggest fault in this film.
Yeah.
Is it's called Food Fight.
Sure.
Food Fight exclamation point.
Yes.
My friend describes it to me. I'm like, it's like the precursor to Sausage Party.
Yeah.
The food related CGI movie.
Kind of.
I start watching this no one is food.
No.
They've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, it should be called Brand Fight or something.
Yeah.
Or like...
Mascot off.
Brand Wars, something like that.
Brand Battle.
Playing into the... Yeah. It's not a food fight. Well, it kind of is a food fight, but it's nothing's animate food.
No,
except some characters. It's mascots of food items that are.
But even then, there's like Mr. Clean and like
like the main antagonist is a laundry detergent mascot.
Yeah,
like I don't know. It's. That's the first warning sign, right? And that the title doesn't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Shall we try and talk about this movie and how it's synced up with the masterpiece, the 1973 magnum opus Dark Side of the Moon, Gareth?
You know what? Yeah, I think this time, I think we should, Let's do that.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get
weird if we didn't.
It would be at this point. Okay, opening title, speak to me, you know the drill. We get the title card for Food Fight coming in, which is a yellow starburst on a white background, and the letters of Food Fight tumble into frame and make like a squelch noise. You can watch this movie free on YouTube. I watched this sound on, no subtitles for this experience, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, which was a nightmare.
Yeah, you got to hear Cheezel T. Weasel's voice.
I did get to hear Cheezel T. Weasel's voice, and we'll get to him. But yeah, first warning signs immediately hit me when I start watching this. We zoom in on a supermarket from above. I say zoom. We don't really. We like wobble in as if we're in like a out of control helicopter. Like, yeah. I feel immediately motion sick, and I'm just seeing a building from above, and that's like not a good start. We get like this. Do we see the store owner here yet, or no? No, I don't think we do.
A little bit.
Yeah, he's like closing.
He's saying
up the
goodbye
store.
to an old lady.
Yeah, and going home for the night. And we're like, oh, okay, this is the art style we're going for. Okay, I'll get more into it in a little bit, but Breathe starts up. And we're seeing the aisles of the supermarket panning right to left. And then these aisles turn into city streets filled with billboards and of different products and like cars driving up and down them. There's the highlights are like a little dragon doing yoga in front of like a whole bunch of people. And these like little kung fu hamsters that are having a fight against Dex Dog Detective, our main character. Yeah. Who is like an Indiana Jones kind of detective character voiced by Charlie Sheen. That's a like very poorly animated Labrador dog, I would say. Like, his mouth barely moves, and it's very hard for this model to show emotion.
And every, like, line Charlie Sheen delivers was clearly the first take, him cold reading the script, and they were like, yep, good, get out of here.
Exact, like, monotone tone of voice for this entire film. No. There are even lines, like, later on in this movie where he just fully, like, stumbles over the thing that he's reading. Like, he will sound out each word individually, like, in order to get through it, and that's the take they use. It's like, what on earth? Anyway, yes, okay. The animation here. Everyone is like spiraling around out of control. This reminds me very heavily of like early 2000s animation style stuff, like, but amateur, not at all like belonging in movies. This is not Pixar quality. It reminds me a lot of the video game Croc Legend of the Gobbos, Gareth.
Yes.
But like even that has better animation than this, and that's like a game that came out before Mario 64. So like it's pretty wild. Everything.
It reminds me of the Butt Ugly Martians, which was a after-school TV show that was dreadful, but like, yeah, it's like it took up the challenge. I like watched it and was like, these aren't ugly enough. Let me show you ugly.
Yeah, it really puts that word to work.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, like, the thing about it is, the animation style, it reminds me of like someone learning a 3D animation program like Blender for the first time. Like, you are definitely trying to like over-exaggerate every single movement that you make because you're like, oh, if I do that, it'll be obvious what the character's doing. But then, if you watch it back in full motion, it's jerky and unnatural and like terrifying in a sort of like alien way. And this person clearly didn't learn that lesson, right? They didn't learn by watching, like, animation in a way. Realistic animation is the study of like nature and people and physics, right? Like understanding how things move, what like faces people make when they talk, and how they hold themselves, how they walk around, stuff like that. Really pays into making a good animation. This has none of that. It's like a first draft.
Do you reckon what happened was, it's Christmas 2005, we're all set to launch this movie, then that's the very first time they hit render on the animation, and it's like, this will now take 7 years to render. And so they couldn't go back and check anything.
I love that idea, that it's all on like the earliest version of Blender and has been rendering slowly for 7 years straight. Oh my god. Of course they would build this all in one enormous file.
Yeah, front to back. They started at the very beginning and like it's all been chronological. Yeah. Oh.
And it's called like script 1 final. Yeah.
Don't delete.
Yeah. Don't delete. Last one was stolen on a server.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's two files sitting there on the Windows XP, and one's called like Final Movie and the other's called Not Final Movie. Don't steal this folder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah. We'll get back to I'll talk probably more about how bad things look, just because it hurts me so badly. I love video animation, and this was hard to watch in that way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. Like, I knew going in that this was a terrible movie, so like, I got kicks out of what the choices that they made. Honestly, there is some stuff coming up that I'm going to call out as like moments that I legitimately laughed at the screen unintentionally.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those as well.
Yeah. So it'll be fine. We get into On the Run as this altercation. It's like between like a rat mascot or something, and then these little like hamsters that are very upsetting. They're like fully like skin, like naked mole rat style hamsters in little judo outfits. These guys, the movie wants these guys to be like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they super are not that. Anyway, this little fight gets rounded out by like they're on top of a hot air balloon and it gets popped, and he like sails away. The bad guy falls and dies or whatever, and then the Dex Dog Detective flies away with like a zip line or whatever. Gets an interview. Down in the crowd by this like little puffin, who is one of my shining light moments later on in the movie. This little puffin character or whatever they are. Important to note, this movie does use a lot of real brands. A lot of them are America specific, so I'm going to miss a lot of them. But honestly, it doesn't matter whether or not you know that they're real or fake, because they're all equally bad. Like, all of these could be real and I believe it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I recognized a single real brand. Like, I think I vaguely know about Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Maybe because of this film, I was told Mr. Clean is a real thing, and I was like, okay, that's the bald man.
Yeah.
And then it all falls apart from there.
Oh man. Ugh. Bloody Mr. Clean. He's always getting like splashed throughout this movie as like if that's the bit. He's getting covered in gunk because he's Mr. Clean. Oh no. He's always having to change his white shirt, and that's the bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks. Anyway, here we meet Dex Dog Detective's main friend, Daredevil Dan, a chocolate squirrel, as played by Wayne Brady, who is supposed to be our comic relief for the movie, but honestly just makes mostly sexual jokes. Quite out of character for Wayne Brady, not gonna lie.
Exactly.
I like him a lot on Whose Line, but in this movie, pretty bad, pretty huge misstep.
Do you think maybe someone did improv with Wayne Brady once, and like maybe it was one of the ones where it's short form improv and you win the game, and like Wayne Brady won, and the guy Lawrence, the maker of this film, was like, I will get my revenge on you, Wayne Brady, and just created this whole film as character assassination for Wayne Brady, because yikes,
could well be. That makes sense. Yeah, this character is awful and no fun. Also, like, one of the worst animated characters. He jerks around a hell of a lot.
Yeah, he does not stay still.
No, which I think is an intentional choice, but like just is horrible to watch. Anyway, Dex is down here talking about wanting to propose to his girlfriend, Sunshine Goodness. Sunshine Goodness is a raisin brand mascot, again fake, but she appears to be a like fairly generic Sims 3 character with with cat ears, and that's basically it. She looks like a Bratz doll to me.
Or not even a Bratz doll, like one of the generic dolls you'd buy at the market if you suddenly remembered it was your niece's birthday or nephew. And
niece
like
or nephew.
Rushed down.
Played by Hilary Duff in the movie as well. Like,
that's messed up.
This cast is fucking wild. It's like stacked for some reason. Like, I can't believe so many of these people in this movie, but anyway, we're not even halfway. So she says something here that's going to be very important to talk about for me, because I thought I was so jarred by it watching, and when I figured out what they were talking about, I was floored. Okay, so they call themselves Ikes, Gareth. And Ikes is, I found out about halfway through the movie, is short for icons. So they're like brand icons, but they decide this movie makes the powerful choice to call these Ikes. Hate that.
It just upset me, and I didn't know why. Like, it just feels too, I don't know, something about them being called Ikes and it being spelled out in the subtitles of IKES. It's just like, I don't know, it felt racist, but I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either, but it's just, I hated it from the perspective of like a big advertising media conglomerate being like, yes, these Ikes, collect the Ikes. You love your Ikes, you kids. You know? Just brands, that's all you need. You don't need anything else. Don't need any other kind of entertainment. Get all your satisfaction from products and things you could purchase. Like, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Did any of that ever work for you on you as a kid? Like, were you down to more into buying something because of like the cartoon lion or something like that?
Almost definitely. I think that had effect on everybody. Like, we all bought like Happy Meals and stuff growing up. Like,
that's a very good point. Yeah,
like there's a reason that works. Like, it's targeted marketing, and you go and eat the shitty food at the shitty restaurant to get the plastic toy that you want. You know, like that's just how it goes.
But at least then you're getting a plastic toy. The stuff this film is celebrating is there's a picture of this man on the box.
Yeah.
Must get this. Collect this picture.
Basically, yeah. It gets...
I did buy those whistle pops. They're like Chopper Chop kind of hard lollipops that were shaped like whistles. And I couldn't get the whistle part to work, but I loved the bird that advertised them. And I remember going into the dairy and asking if I can have the cardboard cutout of the bird.
Oh.
And weirdly, they said no.
I mean, they got to sell more whistle pops, you know? If the bird's gone, how do they know that they're even there?
Yeah.
Didn't think about that. They'd have to call up old Mr. Whistlepop and get him to send down another cardboard bird. That's a great sentence that I got to say. Thanks for that.
Anytime.
Anyway, So they have their like special date here. It's again like really weird. The fact that she's a cat girl and he's a dog man, it's just I don't know. It's not the weirdest like sexual overtones in this movie at all by a long shot, but it's still uncomfortable.
It's complicated by the like Charlie Sheen and Hilary Duff of it all as well.
As appearing. What on earth? Oh.
That's honestly more upsetting than the dog person combo.
Yeah, absolutely. The context of that. We get the crash sound
also,
on the run.
Sorry. Also very interesting. This yellow lab human dog dating this more human person.
Yeah.
Oddly, we were all fine with it with BoJack Horseman. Somehow predicted
they
BoJack Horseman. It just it just needed to make the sadness we felt more intentional, and then we would be completely on board.
Low-key, this is a tangent, but like the secret of BoJack Horseman is that like the thing with characters being animals in that is like it's usually played for laughs, but it's like the way that show works is that they're all real characters regardless of them being animals or humans. Like that's why that show is clever to me. But like I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like anyone can be anything.
Yeah, it definitely raises upsetting questions when characters start like getting in relationships and things like that. Like, what does that mean? Like, but yeah, like it's the show like doesn't even shy away from that kind of thing. Like,
no, yeah, season I think 4 or 3 really opposite of shies it.
Yeah, I can say that BoJack Horseman like nails. If this is what this movie is going for, like BoJack Horseman completes the loop of Food Fight.
Yeah,
you know, they solved the puzzle that old mate Charlie Sheen was trying to make.
Yeah, do you reckon that's what they like? What's the creator's name? Raphael Bob Waxberg? Why did I try to remember his name? And why did I say John 5 times?
I don't know.
Do you reckon that's what John was doing? Like, he saw Food Fight and was like, but what if it was good?
But what if I made this good? Maybe. Quite possibly. Maybe he stole the server.
Of course.
Oh, we've got it. We've solved it.
What if BoJack Horseman is just he sent the server to Netflix and was like, here you go. And what we all love, like one of the greatest shows of the last decade, was actually just the stolen server of
Food Fight.
The most hated film of the last decade.
Wow. What a story. That'll be an expose coming out on Hyper Netflix in the year 2030.
Yeah,
get excited for that. Okay, crash sound on the run. We're back. It happens over the camera doing a full 360 around these characters for no apparent reason. It takes like 1 second of just like a full 360, and it was very disorienting. But yeah, I needed to bring that up because
thank you.
That's where the crash be. Yeah, okay. She like feeds him some raisins, which is upsetting. Can you feed a dog raisins? I don't know. I've never owned a dog.
Oh,
fun fact.
No,
about
that
James.
seems unsafe. Yeah.
I don't know. Then we get this giant moose guy who starts serving dinner. He's got a like Italian accent. He's like full like mafioso for some reason. What's his name?
You're asking the wrong person, being the person who just watched this film on his name.
Yeah. I want to say he's played by Ed Asner here, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, he's just a weird moose guy with an Italian accent for no reason. Yeah. They're having their date. The clocks go off over the moose playing the violin. Which is in a sync, but that's where it happens. And yeah, we just like the date gets like interrupted in multiple like silly ways, and we get some really upsetting facial expressions from these characters. And then Daredevil Dan in the background is trying to do like some skywriting of a large picture of them, of like a proposal as like a special thing, but as a character flaw, he's unable to do a loop-de-loop in his plane. He always cocks it up for some reason. Which, as a Daredevil pilot, I feel like that's like number one move. Is that you always fail that. Like, that's kind of wild. It's important groundwork for maybe the worst scene in this movie coming up later. So anyway, he fails the loop and like doesn't complete the thing, so she doesn't get the message, and the plane explodes, and so Sunshine Goodness goes to check on Daredevil Dan, and then cut from this scene to Daredevil Dan and Dex talking with each other like later? I don't know.
That was very confusing.
It makes no sense because she runs off to go and see him, and then they're just together. It's like, okay. Anyway, so he's like, you ruined things, and then Daredevil Dan's like, don't worry, it's not like it's the last time you'll see Sunshine again. And then we get a card on screen saying 6 months later. Fun fact, he never sees her again for most of the movie. It's like, what? Like, that's the what? It's just sort of implied.
It's such bad storytelling, especially for a kids movie where, like, I mean, kids are wicked smart when it comes to stories.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I didn't get it because it goes 6 months later, then it cuts to a completely unrelated scene.
Yeah, completely
that also
different.
happened 6 months later. And then cuts to a dream sequence and then explains that he hasn't seen her for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, like, in film time, you've covered so much ground. You've introduced so much information. Then, like, you're supposed to do it's not like you'll never see her for 6 months or never see her again. And then he wakes up 6 months later. And that was, like, his dream. And he's looking at all her missing photos or something. It's not supposed to be this way.
That would have been way easier. It was right there. But no, we cut straight to the Brand X representative guy, like a brand manager promotion guy who's coming into the store to sell Brand X stuff. His movement, there is a reason for this in the movie, but it's the most grotesque thing committed to film. I hate how this man moves. He's like lurching around zombie-like, I guess, but like, it sucks. He's got a horrible giant face and a horrible suit, and I hate him. I hate everything about him. Bad voice, bad man.
Yeah. I'm so sad that he's voiced by Christopher Lloyd.
Right? Fucking hell. I'm so mad. His character name is Mr. Clipboard, I'm seeing here, which is very funny.
But you got us back.
Won me back. He does suck, though. Oh, man. Imagine Christopher Lloyd is wasted in this movie. God damn. Oh, well. Never mind.
I wonder if he's moving that way because they were like, he's going to sync with Pink Floyd. And then obviously they didn't know that until 12 years later when the render was done that he doesn't sync to Pink Floyd.
Yeah, that's probably it. Afraid to say it. Oh, poor Chris. So he goes around and like stamps on a bag of chips in the middle of the grocery aisle, which the grocery store owner like picks up and mourns as if it was like a child of his, which I thought that was funny. Then we go to Dex's trippy dream with him like walking around, literally standing on calendars, looking for sunshine. In case you forgot that 6 months had passed, I guess.
Well, I mean, you could have, because you've just had this Mr. Clipboard in between.
Yeah, totally. Oh, anyway, 6 months since he's lost his girl. He can't solve the case, and now he's like the washed-up detective type, like who drinks too much in a kids' movie, you know? So Dan comes and tells him that there's been like a murder, effectively. When the bag got crushed, the chip bag, that was like a brand getting attacked in this world, like metaphorically, I guess, is how it translates. But anyway, there's a crime that he has to go and investigate out in the supermarket world. Dan is like flying around in his plane, just commenting on girls' boobs out here. He says, "You want some chocolate frosting on those?" Which, like, what? Really? This is a movie for children, right? Like,
I've no idea at this point. I'm wondering if, again, like, Sausage Party was them trying to be like, what if this movie was good? But, like, it's appalling. And it's like, it's street, like, harassment, which is not, like, what you want your sidekick hero to be doing.
Yeah, he's literally, like, he's yelling out, like, heckles from his plane. He's catcalling in a really horrible sexual way, which... Bad Wayne Brady. No.
Yeah. And again, it's to a Sims character of a person. Like, all the female characters are essentially just like, if someone was a bit horny for The Sims and just put that in their film, it's very strange.
Yeah, it's just awful. Yeah, so anyway, his sexual harassment distracts him and he crashes his plane again. As we go on a great gig, he actually crashes into a tree. Like, it's a long crash where he's just no longer in control of his plane for a long time, and he crashes into a tree over the "not frightened of dying" monologue, which for me is an anti-sync here, because he is very frightened of dying. So from here we go and meet the Weasel character, Cheezel T. Weasel, as performed by the director of the film. Now, Cheezel T. Weasel's dialogue, a lot of it is put through a filter, which I can only describe as my laptop's internal microphone.
No.
It sounds dreadful. It sounds like bit crunched throughout this entire movie, as if he's like recorded the dialogue for this movie on his like Nokia and sent it to the studio, which I can't believe.
Done that thing where it's like, do you want to send it full size or compress it? And he's like, compress to as small as possible for this email.
It's like, oh, people compress audio, right? Maybe I'll just do that. And like you get like a 1 kilobyte file of him going like, and that's it. And that's what has made it to film. So like me trying to understand him while Pink Floyd play was challenging, to say the least. He also visually is very upsetting to look at. He's constant. The way they've rendered him, he's constantly like wet, which is very upsetting to look at. He's a very extendable neck. And like cartoon, they're trying to do like the cartoon physics of the Looney Tunes, but with like none of the squash and stretch knowledge of good cartoon making. So they're just like throwing his body all around the screen in like tiny amounts of frames, and it looks gross. I hate it. I hate every time I see this character.
Apparently the director was really unhappy with the squash and squish like they were doing, and I don't think he wanted it. I think he wanted everyone to be rigid and realistic.
Wow.
Which is, again, like, considering what he got, which is neither, is bonkers.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you would see this character and be like, yep, print it, put it to film. Like, oh my God.
I'll voice him. Me, the director.
Yeah. Anyway, this horrific weasel is doing like a shakedown of Polar Penguin, who's a tiny little penguin guy. I originally wrote Penta Penguin in my notes, but it's revealed that this guy is called Polar Penguin, presumably a real mascot. I don't really know. But
yeah, he seemed familiar. I think he doesn't. There's a New Zealand heat pump company that has penguins. Maybe he's
right. He looks a bit like the X-Bowl penguin, so I'll allow it. But he like offers like dicks. Like this weasel's character trait is that he's always like offering like deals from his like creepy coat. He's got like a Flash's coat that he keeps like stolen watches in or whatever, but he's got like ridiculously long arms and like 1,000 things inside his coat, and that's his like thing. They never use any of that for anything, but it is in the film. He offers like he's like, I could hook you up with a girl. Like, basically, he's saying that he like has whores that Dex could have.
Yeah, he even says like on these lonely nights.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? And then he gets hit by a train, and I'm so happy about that. Dex goes to his club, I found out, according to Wikipedia later.
This is bonkers, yeah. There's a line earlier that Deputy Dan or whatever, Dan says, Daredevil Dan, sorry.
Yes.
That, like, he's like, oh, you're the best detective ever, but now you got to run the Coco Banana, the hottest nightclub in town, and everyone's going to be there tonight. It's
my God.
Not at all how anyone would speak, but it's like, gotta tell these kids now he runs a nightclub.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Is it Coco Banana, or is it? I thought it was like even closer to the like Copacabana that it's trying to be a parody of. I thought it was
sorry, it's Copa Banana.
Copa Banana.
Wrote that down. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Probably Copa Banana, yeah.
I'm glad. It's still weird. Like, I don't know who that reference is for, really, but anyway, they go down here and there's all these brands dancing around. The band here is like one of the only brands that I recognize, the California Raisins. Quick shout out to a simpler time in America where we were all captivated with the California Raisins. Gareth? What a time. And they are like musical accompaniment to this whole film, as if they're like the Star Wars Cantina band, or the band that like follow that family around in Paddington in the background. It's just, but they're the California Raisins. Honestly, one of the highlights of the film for me. But yeah, and they like later on they'll sing like an auto-tuned ballad about going to war, which is wild. But anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
So they're here giving a performance. Yeah, we've got Mrs. Butterworth, Mr. Clean, other brands that I recognize out here on the dance floor. Everyone also, key dance move here at Copa Banana is doing the monkey from the intro to Johnny Bravo. Literally that dance move just all the time. Also, they get to the bar and here's a glass of milk, or like a carton of milk. Milk is like the equivalent of spirits in this world. You can get drunk on milk. Can you give dogs milk? Man, I know so little about dog care.
Yeah, we showed you Turner and Hooch for that one purpose. Yeah. I mean, dogs are mammals, but I feel like it's
probably not.
It's
good
probably
for
like
them, right?
Honestly, people shouldn't be having milk, and like the amount of people we know, like who can't handle dairy or like So I assume don't give a dog cow milk, but I feel like people who feed their dogs cow milk every day are going to be the first people to ever email us. So let's find out.
Can't wait to hear those emails. So there's like the chip mascot guy who's like a captain or like an admiral, but a potato is here, and he's getting drunk on chips, and the Dex delivers the line, "Go easy on the potato juice before you get chip-faced." A lot of like fake swearing in this movie as well, which doesn't land at all. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, we got the Brand X mascot arriving on the scene. Lady X, she is called. And she's this like just a sexy lady is her deal, with like glowing purple crystalline hair or something with a big X on her. Everyone reacts in the style of Bugs Bunny reacting to Lola Bunny on their first instance in Space Jam is how I would describe it. Like a lot of awooga, eyes popping out of your head kind of stuff. Yeah. So she's hot, Brand X lady, and that's sort of her only character trait.
It's like taking the wrong message from Jessica Rabbit. Like I guess this whole film has. Which, I mean, to be honest, don't know what the message of Jessica Rabbit was, but...
she's hot.
Yeah.
Oh. There you go. We've solved it. I've never seen Roger Rabbit. I really should.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good time. Then again, nobody wants to watch that with me. Like, I've been trying to get people to watch Roger Rabbit for ages.
Oh, no. Well, we can watch it together. But
yeah, that
maybe
seems
not.
like an obvious fit.
Yeah, right? But just not for the pod. We'll watch it as like normal humans. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So she's got this like Dex reacts in a way where he's like, "Oh, you smell familiar to me," because he's a dog, I guess. But this people just start like fighting out in the club to prove their worth for her. I don't really know what's going on. But then anyway, Dix kicks them all out and he puts a stop to it and everyone just like leaves immediately in like a single frame basically as a gag. And a Lady X chooses Daredevil Dan as her like partner here. Like they leave together and he's very excited to have all the weird sex. It's like not subtle about what's happening here. It's real weird. Just a chocolate squirrel and a woman. Okay. Dix is now back at his office pouring a cup of milk for himself. He'd go easy on the milk, mate. And she Brand X, Lady X shows up again and she has changed costumes and now she is in full like Britney Spears like schoolgirl outfit. Yeah. So she's like here to seduce Dex, but he's like not buying what she's selling. Ha ha ha. Yeah, he keeps saying that like I don't know. The brand of his thing that he sells, I don't even know what he's selling, but it's like cereal. He's a cereal mascot, I think, but his slogan is "The secret's inside," and I don't know what that means, but he keeps saying
is that a slogan?
Yeah. It's on his box. It's on the like big billboard outside his building. So I presume that's the slogan for his cereal. But it's why he keeps saying it. Maybe there's like prizes inside the cereal. I don't know. It's
or like government secrets or something fun.
Oh yeah, hopefully. Anyway.
Oh wow. Watergate.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Free in every box.
But yeah, so they have this like weird sexy dance thing where she puts her leg up on him. It's like, why is any of this in a kid's movie? It's so fucking weird. It's so like sexually charged for no reason.
Part of me wants to watch this like I want to know what a kid thinks about this, but I also don't want to. No. I don't want a kid to see this. I want to protect every child from this.
I feel like showing a kid this is a crime. Like, it's no kid is ready to see all this. Like,
no, I'm not ready.
No. Oh God. But anyway, there's been another murder out in the streets, and he goes down and says, Dex explains we're the soul of our products. And effectively, this is what means that when a brand is killed off, the product itself goes bad without representation. And so it won't be sold because the like brand has died. It's like Santa Claus rules, I guess. But like, and this like character and the building like start crumbling in the background and disappearing which is described as rigor mortis, which is the worst thing.
It's exactly what like marketers will say to each other during their like marketing away days is like, the whole brand would fall apart without this. But like, yes, that's true for a brand, but it's very rarely true for a cartoon mascot of a brand,
right?
Like who's the one? Like, look at most of McDonald's characters, like Grimace and such, have all vanished in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Ronald McDonald, they're kind of phasing out very, very slowly. Like, and people are still going to eat McDonald's forever. Like, it's not. You're a product. The idea of a mascot is pretty much a product of a bygone era at this stage. Like, I mean, I don't have kids. I'm not walking down the supermarket with my kids being like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
So I can't really speak too much of that, but like, I think you're wrong, movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the only like modern equivalent I could think of this, like where these food fight type people have gone in my mind, like the only thing I can think of is recently when they killed off Mr. Peanut in like in a Super Bowl commercial. Like that's the most wild brand move that I can think of that is comparable to what's going on in this movie. And that also sucked, by the way. It's like the weirdest thing. I don't understand who that's for, if that affects their like sales of peanuts in any way. It's just
it'd be
so strange. I don't understand who it's for or what it means. And that sums up my feelings about Food Fight as well.
What an odd harbinger the murder of Mr. Peanut was for, like, 2020 in general.
For real.
Like, yeah. It would be the scene at the start of, like, the edgy apocalypse version of your, like, episode of your TV show where you kill off, like, a beloved character and show, like, yeah, we're doing everything. This episode's not canon.
Yeah, man.
But
like,
unfortunately, 2020 was canon.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I have just remembered a modern mascot is. Do you know about like virtual influencers?
No, well, yeah, I guess so. Like influencers on YouTube and things like that, or like TikTok.
No, there's the ones who aren't real. So obviously, influencers being people making money and then like, or making content, and then sorry, I only say content because I don't like the term. I'm not putting down their content. Okay. But like then being able to brand stuff. But now there's also completely CGI'd ones. And have you heard of John Pork?
No, is that what? Explain.
So John Pork is a travel blogger who is a CGI pig.
Okay.
Please, everyone, Google John Pork and click on his Instagram. Give him a follow too.
Wow.
Let's get the Pink Floyd army, which is much smaller than the John Pork army, onto this.
Maybe we could do a collab with John Pork.
Oh, yeah.
If he's free to travel to New Zealand.
I mean, that's the beauty of John Pork, is he can travel anywhere. You can render John Pork.
He's without borders. Oh my god. I hate looking at John Pork.
His top image on his Instagram is him like DJ.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. He's not the right. He's too human in a bad way. He's like he could fit right into this movie, honestly. Except like his CGI is like obviously quite a lot better. But
yeah, for sure.
He's the same like Uncanny Valley nightmare character though. Shout outs to you, John Pork. I love you. I love you, but I am scared of you. And your powerful media franchise.
Yeah.
Anyway, where do we go from here? So like this,
I don't know.
Lady X has an alibi, so it can't have been her that killed this character. So I don't even know what the fuck's going on here. We're right at the end of Money. We had Money play out all throughout that scene with like Lady X's introduction up till now, basically. So I guess that works, but not thrilled about it. We go into Us and Them when Brand X like arrives and starts replacing products that went missing overnight. Not only did that one product brand thing die in the street, but basically, apparently, everyone that left the club that night died. Because we see like empty shelves, so there's a whole bunch of products that have just gone missing. How convenient. So Dex like suits up in his Indiana Jones detective gear and he's like, right, I'm gonna solve the case. He straps a little gun to his side, which we find out is like a price check gun or something like that later on. I'm like, okay. There's a big town meeting of all the characters, and they all come in. The Brand X people come in, and Gareth, this is where I like panicked. For the show, Brand X are Nazis.
There's no like it's not like the hyenas in Lion King or like the Death Eaters and Harry Potter. It's like, oh yeah, just find and replace any like Nazi logo and put an X over it, and you were good to go.
That's as subtle as this movie is. Yeah, they're all in like full-on Nazi uniforms coming in, these characters, and you're like, what? Really?
Yeah.
So
I did genuinely panic that this film was then going to be like pro-Nazi, and I was like, that's the one thing I wasn't warned about with this. Well, one of the many things I wasn't warned about.
They are the bad guys. Don't worry. No. It's still weird to have them in a kids movie to begin with, but oh man, so anyway, they start taking over management, much like the Nazis, and promise to like, we'll take care of all the remaining Ikes. It's just saying that in conjunction with Nazis is bad. They just seem to take over the store management without a consensus from everyone there. People seem kind of scared, but whatever. The horrible slippery weasel gets pushed around by one of the big Brand X uniformed guys and gets pushed off a building, who falls all the way down to talk to Dex, who's now walking survives, is now walking the abandoned blocks of the supermarket of all these like empty shelved product areas, I guess. And he tips Dex off that he saw Daredevil Dan in the detergent aisle. As the last spotter is like a criminal tip off is like what it feels like here. And then the weasel gets crushed under a wrecking ball as like another bit of a joke. Nothing lands in this movie. It's so like things just happen, and there's a lot of like fart jokes, a lot of like fake swearing, Nazis. Like it's just I hate it. Anyway.
It's gone so far to be like something. Like it's definitely, they would have had to be in so many meetings and arguments to get this to be what they wanted it to be. And then nothing lands, nothing goes as far as I think it wants it to go either. So we're just stuck with, I don't know, halfway between the most intense, uncompromised vision and the like biggest shrug in cinema history.
Yeah, it's so mediocre and so awful at the same time. Like, man, it's unreal. Dex goes and like confronts Lady X about like what he thinks is going on with the plan. They have like another dance sequence, a like weird romantic moment for some reason. She's changed outfit yet again. She's like, I think she's got like 4 or 5 outfit changes in this movie. So they dance around like falling swords and things like that. It's like it's a dangerous dance, Gareth. And Dix basically accuses her of kidnapping everyone and taking over the store. And she's like, yeah, lol. And then she like does the like Darth Vader move, being like, we could rule the store together, you and I, you know, but like not father and son, but as like a power couple in this instance, I guess. And she says, I could be your sunshine, which is, yoish. And when he refuses, she hits him with like a little statuette and knocks him out, like an Oscar or something.
One of the many Oscars this film has.
Yeah, so many, guaranteed. The 2001 Oscars. And, so when he wakes up, Dan is there as well, and they're inside like a giant clothes dryer, which presumably, I guess the store also sells.
That's a good point, yeah. What's this doing in there?
Don't know. It's just a convenience store. It sells everything. Although, like, supermarkets in America are mad. Like, they sell all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm not that surprised that there's clothes dryers, but anyway.
Unless it's for the staff to use.
Oh, yeah? I guess so.
Like, wash and dry your uniform?
Yeah. I'll allow it. Anyway, yeah, they're going to be killed via melting, I guess, here.
Yeah.
And so they're trapped in here, but at least Dan's alive for the moment. Lady X goes up and discusses the plan with her Nazi brethren and she says, frame everybody, which is such a funny line to me because it makes zero sense. Like, oh, I love it. But yeah,
the stakes aren't quite there when you're just framing people. Like, it's usually not that easy.
Yeah, like, who are you convincing if you're framing everyone? Like,
exactly.
What is the point of framing people in that instance? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But, it's good. Anyway, they go and beat up the dragon guy like a piñata, and then, Dan and Dex escape the dryer through the logic that socks always escape the dryer. So they're like, follow that sock. It'll get out of the dryer. The hole, you know how that happens? I don't know. Yeah, it's whatever. They go out like a little
like
hole.
Almost clever.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess.
I don't know. But like, there's been no other instances of, huge dryers in this film, so it's just too obvious that they clearly decided, like, we'll put them in a dryer because socks always escape the dryer. It doesn't feel like an earned, like, smart moment.
It's a decent visual, like, as a torture trap for, like, a little
that's true.
thing. Like, it reminds me, like, of Chicken Run with, like, the big machine thing, I was into that, but, like, the pie machine from Chicken Run specifically. But yeah, it was... not executed as well.
No.
So, however, after they escape this, in this incredibly short amount of time that they've been in this dryer, I don't know how long it would take to melt them, but they can't have been in there long, right? Yeah. Dryers get really hot. But anyway, in this amount of time, Brand X has raised an army of robotic exobites. Gary. And exobites are like large flying mosquito robots that inject poison.
They clearly just found a bunch of USBs lying around, or floppy disks lying around from the 90s Beast Wars cartoon and just plugged that into their film.
Yeah. Exobites are never explained what they are, why they're dangerous. They're just a thing. They're just this weird... alien tech that Brand X has for no reason. But anyway, they discuss a plan to team up. Dex has lost confidence in himself, but then he's like, all right, we're going to do it, but it's going to be really, really, really dangerous. And then they go and avoid the Nazis marching down the street and cross the road and go into this giant nose scientist's house. Don't know what's going on with giant nose scientist, if he's a real brand or whatever. What is his name? He might be played by I've got to get fucking John Pork off my screen so that I can find out.
Oh, what's that? John Pork's not leaving your screen? He's just getting bigger?
Oh, no. Please. I'm just trying to understand. What is this guy's name? It's so hard to find any information about this film. Yeah. Maybe his name's Harry. There's a character called Harry Hold, which is just... I'm so upset to learn that.
I don't remember him at all.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's a giant nose scientist, and they've come here to talk about, like, Brand X, and the Brand X products have a highly addictive but toxic quality to humans, similar to cigarettes, and it could kill the brand if it got out to the public, but of course they can't spread it to the public because they're little brand things. They don't have the power to do so. And brands can't interact with humans directly because of, like, Toy Story rules, I guess.
This was confusing as heck, because up until now, I'd assumed they were in a different dimension within the, like, within the packaging of things.
It's like a metaphor rather than any of this actually taking place. Yes.
But then their plan is to then go into the office of the supermarket and send an email.
Yeah. No, they just have the power to go into the human world whenever, but they don't because it's dangerous. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And the whole premise of the movie breaks down when this happens, but whatever. Yeah. It wasn't worth saving in the first place. Yeah. So they go out, they resolve to go out in the daytime, which Dan says is certain death. And they are having to cross these supermarket aisles to get to the checkouts or to get to the computer or whatever. And they're being chased by a Brand X crony out here. And they go onto various shopping carts, and there are the people, the real life people in this movie, Gareth, are some of the most upsetting I've ever seen. These remind me, the people specifically in this supermarket bit remind me a lot of characters in the video game Psychonauts. Do you remember that?
I do not.
Oh man, it's like late 90s Nickelodeon gross out kind of video style. Is how I would describe it. It's a look, but it doesn't translate that well here.
No.
Just horrible proportions and gross. Yeah, it's not good to look at.
Yeah, like Garbage Pail Kids, if you like put a curse on... Garbage Pail Kids, if you did that thing where it's like, here's what cartoon characters would look like in real life.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. That exact vibe. They pass through a checkout, not a checkout. They pass through like a shelf, and going through the shelf, they like pass through, it's like a freezer shelf, and that's where Polar hangs out, the little penguin. And they tell him like, oh, go tell everyone at the bar that Brand X is behind everything, etc. And Polar's like, yes, sir, I'll do that. And then comes out the other side of the fridge, which again makes no sense. And into the thoroughfare of the aisles again. But it's just the logic of them like ripping through the shelf and going into the brand world and back out again. It's like, it's just so many layers deep that is so...
Yeah.
It was very hard for me to understand what was happening, and even harder for me to describe it just now. Anyway, we make it to the end, to the computer, and we're at the end of playthrough 1 of the album. Thank God. We meet our new friend, this weird vampire, a chocolate-loving guy who is obsessed with Dan because he's made of chocolate in like again, sort of like weirdly sexual way. Because he's a vampire. Yeah. He's like lusty for Dan in a strange way. Didn't like this either. It's like not handled delicately in a good way. They just like play the like gay relationship for laughs, I guess, or like him like coming on to him as being this like ho ho ho. Isn't that funny? But it's weird. Anyway, he belongs to a dead Brand who is still alive by the logic of him being a vampire. He's an undead and therefore can't die as a Brand.
It's weaker than the Space Jam: A New Legacy, Bugs Bunny still being alive thing.
Totally.
Which I'm so sorry if that was a huge twist to anyone
who
loves Food Fight and was waiting to see that movie.
I feel zero remorse about spoiling Space Jam 2 for fans of the movie Food Fight. Anyway, so he can come back. He's here. We go and see the IBM computer. The computer man jumps out. I love this. This is the one part of the movie that I'm really into. The cyberspace computer man coming out, being the like brand representative for IBM. This little ballet dancing digital code person. Loved this. Loved everything about it. I want the movie Food Fight, but set in cyberspace. But I guess that's just the serververse of Space Jam 2 is what that would look like, you know?
But you could have like Clippy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All the fun online helpers, that dog that was involved in Microsoft Windows XP. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just want to know what's going on with them. Anyway, he's sending
a little face on a Max Finder. Oh,
yeah, that guy. That little face.
I want to hear that voice.
I don't really trust that face. It always looked like he was a little bit shady, like he was watching what I'm doing on my Mac, and I'm like, you don't need to know what I'm writing about right now, little face.
Yeah, you don't need to know that I'm using this Mac to record a podcast about Food Fight. It definitely looks like, I'm staring at it now, it definitely looks like he's going like, is this what you want to do today?
You sure? All right.
Yeah.
I won't say anything. They use the computer to send this email, which is just sort of shown through like Dex touching the screen a couple of times. Nothing really changes on the screen or anything, but whatever. He sends an email and then the power gets cut before it can go off, so they don't really know. But before this, they find out that Brand X is tied to a company that sold genetically enhanced giant prunes.
That's right. What?
Yeah, and also that Brand X is behind stopping Sunshine Goodness's brand. They cancelled them as well somehow. But both the prune brand and this brand have both been recalled. This all makes sense in a minute. He said, lying. But anyway, we get into Breathe, and we all know, already know that Brand X are evil. They are Nazis. But yeah, they pull the power from the store, and the team heads back to the bar to plan for a fight. The titular food fight is about to happen, Gareth.
Like pretty much 55 minutes in.
Yeah. A full Pink Floyd plays through the movie before we get any actual food fighting. So Brand X is just up here gloating to the public about their Nazi agenda, effectively. They literally say, send undesirables to the expiration station.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that someone in a boardroom thought this was a really clever line, and it's just come on. You can't put that in a kids movie. It's immoral.
Yeah.
I'm furious. But yeah, prove yourself you are desirable and report any undesirables.
Yeah.
Yikes. They are all chanting one store, one X as their big old chant. At least this nightmare scenario is fitting well with the intensity of On the Run, Gareth. So the Ikes gather at the Copa Banana, and they're talking about joining the fight. Everyone's getting involved. Brand X show up in force to end the gathering, and they just start chanting their mantra. And in response, the clocks go off, and then Dex shows up at the bar, and through retaliation against them, they start singing a song that I can only describe as a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, but with the words changed to be about corporate branding and coming together and celebrating products and stuff.
Because I only got to read these subtitles, so I was just like, are they speaking?
It's like horns and stuff, and it's like the Star Spangled Banner. It's really weird. Like an American patriotic song is playing. It's no good. but it's not that song. It's like a sound alike, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They couldn't get the rights to the national anthem. They had to...
No. Thankfully
had to get stock music that sounded similar.
Yeah. So yeah, they say to like go tell the Lady X that this means war, and the resistance will fight back from this club. And they've basically just like sang at each other, and that's the interaction here. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So Dex gives a rousing speech to the group about stopping the tyrant. And he says, remember our oath to protect and serve. Which is like, is this movie now like promoting the armed forces? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Does it like serve a pun on like,
I guess,
food?
I get that would be better than I think this movie like should be given credit for, but
yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, it's time for the food fight. Dex is on the roof of a nearby building, and Lady X calls to attack. And yeah, they start doing a food fight with large bits of food. They pour hot chocolate down on the army as if it's like boiling oil through murder holes of a castle, which is upsetting. Siege warfare.
Yeah.
They, throwing food around like it's a food fight. There's like fruit exploding like mortar shells. They use the same, like, I think the exact same animation, but just swap out different characters for each time that it happens, of like three little characters falling over as an explosion happens. Like they fall towards the screen. Pretty sure that happens like 5 times.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of copy and paste in this. And, you know, I've done a bit of animation. I've lived on copy and paste. But, like, that's again why I'm worried I'm going to make food fight accidentally.
Nah, man. You got more credibility than that. Anyway.
I don't know.
They drop a large melon on the forces, which explodes and causes them to retreat. And then they fire cherry pies from spatula catapults. You know, I feel like a lot of these things were like written on a whiteboard and then animated hastily.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, they're like, food fight. What can we fucking do? Spatula catapult, and it launches a pie. Yeah. Yeah. All of this looks terrible, by the way. All the explosions are like just stock liquid physics that come with whatever animation program they're using, and it looks like globby nothing. You know, it's just...
Yeah, the hot chocolate changes, the hot fudge changes its texture like 3 times in its usage. And it becomes tiny when it drips off the Nazis. It's weak.
Yeah, it's no good. They fire off like missile launches with whipped cream rockets, I guess. And these are all copy pasted. Like, I get that they're like in a rack, all right. They fire off all at the same time, but like at least animate them to look different so that it's visually interesting. Like, it's just they all fire in the exact same pattern, and then they have to keep clearing the whipped cream smoke off the screen. It just cuts out in a single frame so that they can show the next like lot of missiles flying past. Like, no one thought that like maybe we'll make it like fade out. No, it's just gone in one frame. Like, it's ridiculous.
You just slide the opacity frame a couple frames down. They'll figure it out.
Easy.
I don't understand what software they're using.
Yeah. But we are going into great gig in this playthrough, and like it's been going a while. This food fight goes on for a while, Gareth. There's a lot of just dumb ideas that the resignation for me starts setting in as Great Gig starts. I start feeling like Great Gig is very appropriate for the moment for my personal state. Because I'm
absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you want me to like describe more food things, or should I move on? They fire peas from like spitballs. There's little tanks that fire ketchup. They like pat the bottom of the ketchup bottles with Mickey Mouse gloves.
And even that, like, they pat it for ages and nothing happens. Then they pat it one last time and it fires sauce, which might be a joke, but it's just the physics of it are still so off because they're not hitting it any harder or anything because they only built one moving animation.
If they like hand moved and squeezed the bottle, it would be better, but like that is not what happens. I don't know.
They didn't have a sauce bottle in the office to work on. It was they just took a guess.
I do love the little penguin and the cheese mascot here. Like pull up a toaster and do a try and launch toast at the enemy, but it just sort of pops out, and that's it. I don't really. I like that isn't like framed like a joke at all in the movie. But
which is weird.
It's just very weird that it was included. The exobites come in. They haven't used any of these before. These like horrible drone mosquito robots, and they start attacking. And the counter assault for this is the flying mascots blow bubble gum and like gum up their works, is what is said. I do love. This is where I get my puffin lady coming back. This little puffin like. She's really badly animated. She just sort of hovers in the air, flapping her wings like way too slowly for any kind of lift. But she like blows her bubble or whatever, and then like she slows to a halt as like a perfect. When you animate something, you you ease in and out a lot of the time, and there's like default settings for something so that like it just stops to a halt like mathematically perfectly, and she does that, rotates 180 degrees in the air, and then starts flying back the other way. And it's just great. Like the sequence of events there is so unnatural. Oh, I love it. That like one little shot, I watched it like 4 times after finishing the movie because it made me laugh. It's so like when you do like a stock animation for when the animation isn't finished and you want to show how something is going to look when it is finished, like it's that. It's like dummy footage you show off to investors before the movie is done that has made it into a film.
I think that's kind of what this whole film might have been.
Yeah. Oh. But they put a lot of work into terrible like face animation and mouth movement, like Foley tracking stuff, and it all looks awful, don't get me wrong, like it's all done wrong, but like they put work into that and then just nothing into other things, and I love it. It's just such a conglomerate of bad decisions.
Well, did you know they when he wasn't happy with the stretch and squish, they did use some motion capture on faces, but they didn't have good enough software.
Yes.
So everyone doing the motion capture could only stare like dead straight on and not move their heads too much. So that's why everyone seems so soulless.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Like just seeing, oh my God, like because it's just they move so erratically and wildly that it does look kind of like a motion tracked thing, but it's just like a doll's face moving around on like a mannequin. It's so upsetting to look at. Oh man, animation has come. I'd like to say animation has come a long way since this movie came out. But like in 2012, there was just so many better looking things than this. Like,
oh heck yeah,
it's unreal that this was released. But cut to Polar Penguin witnessing the horror of war as down on the front lines, dodging explosions, and is told to go to the Copa Banana, but doesn't, and gets attacked by one of the Xenobites or whatever it is, and gets filled with toxin and like dies, question mark, or is like dying, I don't know. It's hilarious.
Dying at this stage, because we do watch him like given to death later on.
Yeah. There's so the plan is they regroup and they're like, okay, phase 2 of this food fight, we're gonna cut the power or like mess up the power of the store by cutting down this like power line. I don't know where this is in the context of the store or what this means. There's like a enormous power line that shouldn't be in a supermarket, but whatever. And yeah, they're gonna put up little lightning rods around the place and protect their own buildings and destroy the other ones.
That's what was happening. Oh my god, because it's just characters making beautiful tinfoil art. And I was just like, what?
Oh yeah. I loved that. Yeah. It's so bad. I'll describe it now because we're talking about it. They like just stand in front of like a violently exploding starburst of white, like a polygon that's just rippling. And like it's supposed to be like a dust cloud, but it just looks like they're summoning some kind of weird white crystal. And then after that, it emerges a like tinfoil construction of some object that appears to have no rhyme or reason to why it was constructed. One's like a toilet, one's a pizza, one's like a moose antler. It's what? I don't understand why these were chosen, but whatever. So anyway, upsetting Weasel joins the war and is going down into the sewer, and then we'll cut down this power line in a bit. It's so bad. The construction of those little those little sculptures. Some of the worst animation I've ever seen, but I love it. It looks like the little villages in like Age of Empires building a building. They just sort of stand around next to the thing that they're building, and then suddenly it appears. Oh, it's great. Yeah, so then there's this other character that I haven't talked about until now. There's like this fox who's like a mayor. Don't really know what's going on with him. He's not that important. He was at the town meeting.
I think he took over the dogs. I'm blanking everyone's name. He took over Dog Detective's role as like favorite person, but he's like he just keeps losing his hair, and that's his gag.
That's his thing. Anyway, he's here and he's like, this can't be happening. I can't believe you lied to me. It's like, mate, where have you been? What do you think has been happening this whole time? Anyway, he's just figuring it out. He prevents this little frog king from getting his tongue cut out. I love this little frog king. I want to know his story. And then, like runs away. It's like another completely pointless scene. I guess he's like the mayor's on side in like a Jaws kind of way. He's like sycophantic to the, or like sympathetic to Brand X for some reason. I don't know. It makes no sense.
They definitely shouldn't have introduced this now. They should have like put it way sooner. That the mayor was evil.
He's like on the take or something. I don't know. So the penguin gets killed by the exobite. One of the generals gets run over by a Pringles can, or like a can of tuna or something. All the Ikes regroup at the bar, and the little cheese mascot dies. The little polar penguin gets carried in, like limp-bodied by Dex. And then, dies on a table, gives up the ghost. The little scientist nose guy runs in, and he's got news that the chemical in Brand X causes food to spoil, and that's why all these brands are slowly going to die. Because I guess brands are equal food item. It makes no sense. Anyway.
Yeah. If the characters had been food, as was suggested, this would make sense. But because they're like dogs and penguins, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's it's just I can't understand what anything like what that means. Why? Oh, it's just Anyway, so the new plan is Dex has to break in a suicide mission to destroy the neurotoxin or whatever that they are using to poison people. He blames himself for letting everyone down and for like giving up on the city or whatever, and he wants Daredevil Dan to take his place if he doesn't make it back. It's an attempt by the movie to have a touching moment between these two characters that is just like, who cares? But anyway, then we got the very confusing shot of the weasel cutting the power to the store, cutting down the power line. It's like shot from below, looking up underneath a van next to the building that he like emerges out of like a manhole, but it's from the perspective of like the ground looking up. It's so weird framing. I don't know why, but anyway, he cuts down the power line and then squashes another like Nazi goon beneath it. And then Dex and Dan fly up to the building in Dan's plane, and Dex jumps down. And this is where we get the explanation about what the lightning rods are doing from like a moose who literally explains it to camera because it's so confusing. He's like, here's what's going on. The Italian moose tells us. And then, there's like a face-off inside the top of the building where he discovers Sunshine is here and being held captive in Lady X's office. And but the building's getting struck by lightning, so Lady X runs away, and then they manage to do like a classic kind of hostage switcheroo situation. They like distract him and throws a raisin at him or something. It's silly, but whatever. Sunshine gets rescued, and it's still an upsetting relationship between dog and cat girl. So the secret addictive part of the elixir in Brand X comes from the raisins. It comes from the sweetness of Sunshine goodness and her raisins.
Yeah, of
apparently.
course.
You know, because raisins are so addictive and delicious, Gareth.
Oh, yeah.
Once you pop a packet of raisins, you're down in that whole thing in one. You'd eat the whole
you can't
carton.
stop a packet of raisins.
Apparently.
Do you reckon Big Raisin paid for this movie and that's why it had to still get released? As though it deep in Big Raisin's pocket?
Maybe. This is the story of how Big Raisin fell, because we've got the like enormous prunes angle as well. You know? It's ridiculous. But yeah, I do, as like just a weird note, she's got the letter X branded on her neck. It's literally Brand X, which I was like kind of impressed with as like wordplay. But like, I don't know. It's still strange. The building's gonna fall down. It's being suspended by like a tiny like pinnacle on the left side. The top of the building, it's like a big Empire State Building kind of looking thing. It's about to fall off, and in order to rescue them in his plane, Dan is flying around, and he's like, he's got to do a loop-de-loop to save us. It's the move that he can't do. He's got to swoop in for a loop-de-loop and then get us. It's like, what? No, that's not how saving someone works. You don't have to do a loop-de-loop. That's literally just showing off. Like, it's not for... It's like, there's no logical reason he'd have to do a loop-de-loop here.
No, yeah. They just had been on the Wikipedia page for Chekhov's gun and were like, whoa, uh-oh. Better get one of these in the film. Yeah,
just get him to do this one thing and then it'll be fine. But yeah, it makes no sense. They don't even show him doing the loop-de-loop properly. It's like framed in like 4 separate shots. and you don't even really get to see him do a full loop. It's like, what is the fucking
which is
point?
the biggest sin. That is so... that is weak sauce.
Stupid. Yeah.
Weaker than the sauce that's selling the
animating.
supermarket. Yeah.
For real. Yeah, so they're celebrating the win, basically, celebrating their escape, and then the human from Brand X, the Christopher Lloyd human, is walking around. It's stomping around like a big nightmare zombie again. And Dix is like, it's so weird that he's shown up in this like brand world. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Dix goes and confronts it, fights it, it just goes up to it, and then they trip it. Like, it's like this big Godzilla-sized human. They trip it with like some floss, I think, going across the street is the idea. Anyway, he crashes, and his face opens up to reveal that it's a big robot with Lady X inside who is controlling it. And this
Didn't
is
see
where
this twist coming. That's for one point.
Real weird. Okay, so here's the explanation for what... This is where the threads are supposed to be tied together. Lady X delivers everything at once here. She was the prune mascot lady. She was the prune mascot brand who literally, she says she got plastic surgery to make herself look better. How that works as a brand, I don't understand. I don't follow, but sure. She also says that she got in good with humans using her sexuality. Like, she says, looking like this, you can make humans do whatever you want. And it's like, what? Like, anyway, she established herself as Brand X's main mascot, and then used that power to try and take over and get revenge against what's the name? Goodness, Delicious Goodness,
Sunshine Goodness, right?
Yes, who was the rival of hers, who like put her out of business basically when she was the prune brand. And she was selling like weird genetically enhanced giant prunes, so like whose fault is it really? But anyway, it's all explained there in this weird moment, and it's like, okay, sure, I guess that's the explanation for the movie. And then she starts fighting Dex, who won't fight back because Dex would never hit a woman. Important character moment. He wouldn't hit a woman. No. He's the hero. Like, shit,
we better make this character likable.
They say it so many times. It's so ham-fisted and weird. And so it's like, oh, how do we solve this? Well, Sunshine's gonna step up and fight Sunshine Goodness, and she jumps in and does like kung fu or whatever and beats her up so badly that she transforms back into a crone, into the messed up old lady prune selling version of herself. And she's like, all right, take her away with the other recalled products and the Brand X products. So she's defeated. The mayor Fox guy gets like a special commendation, being like, you're all right, from Dix, even though he did literally nothing in the movie.
In fact, he made it worse.
Yeah. The scientist off screen has found a cure to the toxin of the exobites, Gareth, and he revives Pinga Penguin here, and Penguin is thrilled and excited, and Dex takes this opportunity to propose, as he's always wanted to do this whole film, to his girlfriend, and then they get married. And like the final jokes of this movie play out over top of the credits, like the opening to the final credits or whatever, the title card credits. And they're supposed to be, I think, like variants of the like Pixar post-credits jokes kind of things coming through. Or like the celebration at the end of Shrek, it also reminded me of. But
I was just trying to do either of those, but not trying hard enough.
Yeah, no. It's also like just joked at random that Dex is Jewish as part of this.
Weird thing to joke about.
Weird joke. Sunshine Goodness takes Dex's hat off to reveal another exactly the same size hat underneath it, like as if she's pulling off one model of a hat to reveal the exact same model underneath, which I thoroughly enjoyed as like an animation like thing. It's just so bad, so cheaply done. But anyway, they all get together, they have some gags, they have a good time at the wedding, and Eclipse winds up pretty much on the end of these sequences.
Yeah, that was strange.
We go into like the final credits with the heartbeats between albums playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like almost a perfect 2 playthrough sync. But what did you think and how did it sync, Gareth? Is the real question.
I think we've covered what I thought. I deeply regret choosing it. I'm awfully sorry. Although as we've spoken about it, I've forgiven it quite a lot more because I am 100% believing they just hit render and it rendered for 10 years and they were stuck with whatever they got.
Yeah. They were like, well, if my power bill is so high because of this movie just rendering forever. I've not looked at this laptop is covered in dust and I've just noticed that it's finished rendering and I guess we should just release it. I really don't want to watch it. Let's just put it out on DVD and see what happens.
Yeah.
As far as
but as for how it's you'll notice there were a lot of things we didn't expect would say out loud in this episode, like Nazi animation and talking about sexy food products and
fun for that reason. For me to just say like the weirdest sentences I've ever said in my whole life. Yeah.
But 2 words we weren't saying were Pink and Floyd. So I think honestly, it gets something for ending exactly on the end of an album.
It does.
I think that's
It's not a 0.
No. I think it could sit nicely around the it's the thing is it's a 1.
Yeah.
But technically as we gave Hitch a 1.9 and it's miles behind Hitch in the syncs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it sits snugly deep. It's a deep 1. It's,
1. Yeah. 1 and bold.
I can maybe go slightly ahead of Whiplash, but then even then I'm like, at least Whiplash was about music.
Yeah, right?
Deep 1. It's a 1.
A 1. 1. Put it on the graph. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there's our one question I've got for you, James. What are we gonna...
Oh, yeah?
How are we gonna wash this food fight out of our mouths? What are we talking about next week?
Alrighty, Gareth. I've got a good one for us this week. I figured I'd like just to clean the palate and like return to actual cinema. I thought would be a good idea. And I was inspired with the like vaguely noir tone of this movie, and that like there's a detective, and I was like, I wished this was like they delved that like there are murders that take place in this movie, but this movie is not about investigating a murder, right? It's not at all. I was pining for that feeling throughout this whole experience.
You know, a movie's bad when you're craving a murder.
Yeah, I just wished I was watching something like that. And so we're going to this coming week. We're going to watch Double Indemnity, one of the best noir crime dramas of 1944.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't even heard of this. I thought this was I might have seen the remake, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was remade in like the 70s? I don't know. But we're watching the 1944 version.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Classic film noir next week on the pod as complete tonal whiplash.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's what we do.
Oh, nice. Oh.
All right.
Wow. Well, yeah. Definitely all right. I mean, it would be weird if I was like, no, we're not.
Choose something weirder, James. Do it.
No, we're not. We're just doing Food Fight again.
No.
But yeah, sound off. Let us know your favorite Food Fight mascots and how much you loved the upsetting weasel. And you can do that at Sync Floyd Pod on Twitter. You can email us and tell us why you feed your dog milk at syncfloydpod@gmail.com. Remind us that Wizard of Oz exists on Letterboxd at Sync Floyd.
Please.
And I've been Gareth Blackler.
I've been the poorly animated frame of James Barron.
Oh. And we'll see you after the lights go out at the supermarket on the dark side of the moon.
On the dark side of the moon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh.